On this edition of Gameball NFL Endzone, we're going to be doing a recap of what happened in Week 10, who won and who lost, and give you the stats and break down games on that one. Also, we're going to get to the Week 11 matchups and prediction right here, so don't go anywhere. Right here, only on Gameball NFL Endzone podcast starts now. What's happening, everyone? Welcome to Gameball NFL Endzone podcast, where the football season never ends. I'm your host, Michael Riley.
I'm your co-host, Luke Hartnett.
We're going to be breaking down the matchups that happened in Week 10 and do a recap on that. Also, we're going to be getting to Week 11's matchups and prediction as well. So let's get into the Week 10 recap with the New Orleans Saints versus the Buffalo Bills. New Orleans Saints would throttle the shit out of Buffalo Bills of the score 47-10. Drew Brees 18-25, a buck 48. Mark Ingram, a nice day, 21 rushes, 131 yards, and 3 TDs. That is a great day. Not nice, but great. Michael Thomas, 9 catches, a buck 17. Total offense, 482 yards with 32 first downs. Time of possession, 41 minutes, 23 seconds with 1 turnover. The defense balled out. Had 2 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 1 INT. The Buffalo Bills side, Tyrod Taylor, 9 of 18, 56 yards, 1 INT. That day sucked. His backup, Nathan Pearman, had a better day than him, a rookie. 7 of 10, 79 yards, 1 TD. LaShawn McCoy, a.k.a. Shady McCoy, was held in check with 8 rushes, 49 yards. Calvin Benjamin, 3 catches, 42 yards. Total offense, 198 with 10 first downs. That won't win you games. Time of possession, 18 minutes, 37 seconds with 1 turnover. Defense, 0 sacks, 6 tackles for loss with 1 fumble recovery. What happened in this game?
New Orleans ran the ball real well. They scored, 47 points, and Drew Brees didn't even throw for a touchdown.
And that's where the Saints was missing that balance attack, because we're used to them seeing pass the ball a lot, but coach realizes that Drew Brees is getting older, he's getting younger, and he doesn't need to put it all on his shoulders to win the game. So they finally got the offensive line shifted right, made some changes, especially with the first round draft pick out of Wisconsin, putting him on the right tackle side. So you have the 1-2 punch with Ingram and Akrumuga, the rookie out of Tennessee. So you keep that balance, getting the running game going, and also get some passing game going. And the receiver, Michael Thomas, balled out pretty well, had some good catches, get some good get first downs, and keep the chains rolling. The running game was ecstatic with the combined almost 300 yards rushing between the two of them, and they balled out. They kept the chains rolling Mark Ingram was the pounder running between the tackles. You also have the rookie who's not scared to run between the tackles. He also has speed to run the outside as well. That is a recipe of success to wear down the Buffalo Bills' defense. As you can tell in that game, they was tired. They was honing on the heels. That they couldn't able to do shit. They couldn't tackle their life dependent on it because you saw them that missing tackles and all that, giving up big gains. And that comes to show you that it needs to be more work to be done on defense. And I don't understand why you trade your Pro Bowl defensive tackle Marcel Darius thinking it would be better, and eventually it got worse. So that's for that aspect they need to work much harder on defense and basically stop the run because the last 3 games they got almost 100+ yards and their 3 losses. So you have to look at the drawing board and look at your mistakes on defense to see what can they improve on. Offense, it was horrible. Not pedestrian, horrible. Tyrod Taylor couldn't do nothing. Wasn't really his fault. Some of it was, but most of it wasn't. It was the lack of protection of the offensive line. They couldn't get the running game going as well. They was held in check, and they shut down Shady McCoy, only 49 yards rushing. I mean, if you shut him down, that is a recipe of success to win the game. So that's the area Buffalo needs to improve on. Be more physical in the running game and take pressure off the quarterback so you won't have to rely on him throwing the ball as much. And that's what happened. He had to throw the ball and he had an interception. Then when crunch time, basically garbage time comes, you bring in a rookie quarterback who looked it good for the last part of the game with a touchdown and all that. So they need to get back to the drawing board and get back to being that physical team we once saw that got them winning streak going in the first part of the season. The last 3 games they've been inefficient. It's always been like the Buffalo Bills. They start good, and once they start good at the 5-2 spot, it just seems like the last few years when they start good at the 5-2 spot, then they fall off the cliff and go on a losing streak. So they need to change something to get that winning streak going and get back to that playoff contention. Alright, the next game we're going to talk about, Houston, Texas versus Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams will whoop on Houston, Texas with a score of 33-7. Tom Savage, 1836, 221 yards, 1 TD, 2 INTs. Lamar Miller, 11 rushes for 60 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, 7 catches, a buck 11. Total offense, 283 yards with 17 first downs. Time of possession, 28 minutes, 29 seconds with 4 turnovers. Defense, 3 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, 0 turnovers. Alright, the Rams side. Jared Goff, 25-37, 355 yards, 3 TDs with 0 INTs. Todd Gurley, 11 rushes, 68 yards. Robert Woods, 8 catches, a buck 71 with 2 touchdowns. He is balling. And that's another thing that the Bills let go was Robert Woods and Sammy Watkins, yep. And they both balling for the Rams. Total offense, 443 yards with 19 first downs. Time of possession, 31 minutes, 31 seconds with 0 turnovers. Defense, 2 forced fumbles, 2 INTs, 3 sacks, and 5 tackles for loss. That defense was balling to win that game. So what did you like about that game?
The score was a little bit more out of hand than I thought it would be, but the Texans, it's unbelievable just how much they were able to rely on a rookie quarterback to provide for them the way they have, and just how incompetent they are without him. And as far as the Rams defense goes, they've been the best kept secret in the league until this year. Now they ain't a secret no more. Everybody knows about them now. But it's just unbelievable what a difference not having a rookie quarterback in there has for them. And the opposite way that you see for most teams, the rookie.
Yeah, when Deshaun Watson was in there before he got injured with the ACL, this offense was clicking on all cylinders. You can start to see the gel. Everybody was communicating together, rally around their rookie quarterback behind him. He was that leader. He was leading the games. You're like, you know what? They could be legitimate threat in the playoffs, possibly be a Super Bowl contender. But when he got injured, It just seems like their season is falling and falling and falling. It's just like they're taking 3 steps back now. The offense is not clicking on all cylinders with Tom Savage, and nobody's rallying around him. You know, it's just like a pedestrian offense. The running game's not there. You traded your Pro Bowl left tackle Brown to the Seahawks, which that was a stupid mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Why the hell would you do that? I don't know. That is so stupid. Why? And you do that in the middle of the season. You couldn't wait to the end of the season, really? Then the defense is not what it was. I mean, you had Jadeveon Clowney, but that's it. You don't have J.J. Watt there who's injured. You have Merciless in there who is injured. You're missing key parts in the secondary who's been banged up. So it the Houston Texans can't get a break. It just seems like one thing is another. Player after player after player is getting injured. It's not really helping them out. So I kind of feel bad for the Houston Texans because they was on the road and they was ready to make some noise, but with those injuries, it just takes them backwards and they're falling off. So if they can recover, I don't know. We'll find out as the season goes. But let's talk about the Rams. The Rams is sensational. I am drinking the Rams Kool-Aid. I am buying to what their head coach is bringing in because we all know the previous head coach, Jeff Fisher, who had no damn business still coaching and getting a contract stitching, but the owner finally realized he needed to go, so they got rid of the general manager and got rid of him, and you bring in an offensive-minded coach who's a quarterback coach along with an offense coordinator for Kirk Cousins when he was the quarterback at Washington Redskins when he took over as an offense coordinator there, worked with him. So you pair it with him with Jared Goff, and they're on unbelievable season, and they connect with one another. So you, offensive minded, work with a young quarterback. That seems to progress go well, but the concern was the defense. So what he goes do? He hires one of the legendary best defensive coordinators ever, and Wade Phillips. And what does Wade Phillips do with all that talent on defense? Turn it around, and they are balling. I mean, you got Aaron Donald, you got Okatree, you got all the players
Robert
in there.
Quinn.
Robert Quinn, who's still there, and you also got what's that cornerback's name? I forgot his name, but he's balling. And you also got Barron, who can play some linebacker and still play nickel in the safety spot as well. His balling. It's just everybody is clicking, and this season is continues to get better for the Rams. So they just keep on clicking. If they can keep rolling, they could potentially win the NFC West division, first time in a long time. So as long as they keep that train
Next
rolling.
2 weeks are big for them. They play the Vikings at Minnesota, then they play the Saints the following week. Still have a road game at Seattle mid-December as well.
So we're going to see is this team for real in the last few games of the regular season. So if they keep rolling this train, then they'll be potentially be a threat to the Eagles in that NFC spot in the playoffs. So we'll see as time goes. If you really think about it, Jeff Fisher did them a favor because they got all those top draft picks on offense and defense, and he couldn't really utilize them. Till you get a new coach, he knows what to do, and you hire a defensive coordinator Wade Phillips. All of a sudden, they balling.
Also got all them draft picks from the Redskins for Robert Griffin as well.
Exactly. So credit up.
I see you working, Jeff Fisher.
That's the only time I give Jeff Fisher credit is for losing when he was with the Rams as a head coach. All right, let's get to the matchup of Week 10 recap. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Dallas Cowboys would get smacked around like little girls against Atlanta Falcons. The score of 27-7. Dak Prescott 20 of 30, 176 yards with one rushing touchdown. Alfred Morris 11 rushes, 53 yards. Jason Witten 7 catches, 59 yards. Total offense 233 yards with 18 first downs. Time of possession 27 minutes, 54 seconds with 2 turnovers. Defense, 1 sack, 9 tackles for loss, 1 INT. Matt Ryan, 22 of 29, 215 yards, 2 TDs, 1 INT. Tevin Coleman, who replaced it Freeman of injury had 20 rushes for 83 yards and 1 TD. Taylor Gabriel had 3 catches, 58 yards. Total offense, 336 yards with 22 first downs. Time of possession, 32 minutes, 6 seconds with 1 turnover. Defense, 8 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, and 2 fumble recoveries. So what did you like about this game, Luke? Break it down for me.
What I didn't like was Dez Bryant's lack of involvement. I don't know if that's on the OC, if it's on Dag, maybe it's on Dez. I'm not sure. Especially with Zeke Elliott out for the next, 6 weeks, or I guess now the next 5 weeks now. They got to get Dez Bryant more involved. They got to.
Yeah, it just seems like they're not clicking, and this is a recipe for disaster for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, that's who they are. They're disastrous teams. What can't go wrong will go wrong. This is why I say the Dallas Cowboys are a bad luck in the making because they got all distractions. You got people being suspended left and right that can't stay off the weed. You got people stealing cologne, and you got people making bad decisions off the field for no reason. You got Jerry Jones' ongoing saga with the NFL, Ezekiel Elliott. It's just like it's a clusterfuck for the Dallas Cowboys all in one. We don't know what's going on in the locker room inside of it, but it needs to change. The chemistry is not there. It just lost. The Dallas Cowboys season is lost. It's over. I said it. It's over. And Jason Garrett needs to be ashamed for himself because why would you put a left guard, excuse me, not left guard, a right guard to play left tackle, and you know he never had a snap at left tackle. He was getting eaten alive. I mean, Dak Prescott might as well call it a suicide watch because he was on chase for his life against the defensive line. I mean, Adrian Claiborne had 6 sacks on that side against him, just taking
Big
advantage.
Easy was raising hell too.
Oh yeah, it's just like he was on the Amber Alert. I don't know what was going on. He was just like running for his life. I thought he was going to commit suicide after the game for that lack of protection concern. Then the running game wasn't efficient and the offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders. I mean, third down, they was horrible. Couldn't make third down plays. The defense did okay until they gave up points and they had their hands on their heels and all that. So it was just a clusterfuck everywhere for the Dallas Cowboys, just put it that way. It was sad and awful. But for me, since I'm a Dallas Cowboy hater, I may be a fan of Inside because y'all just entertain me. I mean, when y'all lose, it just brings my joy. I'll just get a laughing kick out of it. That's what you get, Dallas Cowboys fans. So let's get over to the Atlanta Falcons side. I mean, when Dante Freeman went out, that Tevin Coleman came and stepped up, carried the load, and helped his team win. But you can kind of see they was missing Freeman because they have different styles. You have the speed guy who can run between the tackles and isn't afraid. He also can run outside. But you got Freeman who is a different style. Running back kind of Marshawn Lynch with that shake and bake leg movement, make you miss left and right. So it may hurt the running game because they're going to miss that part, but like the rule says, next man steps up. So he stepped up and took over that and did a pretty good job on it. Matt Ryan was consistent except for that interception that he threw, which was a mistake. The defensive back jumped all over it. That's unlike Matt Ryan, but everybody makes those type of mistakes here and there. And you got to get more Julio Jones involved. If you get more him involved, because he's a big time target, get him involved along with the other receivers that help the running game a little bit better, and the offense will be back to scoring. So they have to be able to keep winning to compete for the NFC South Division. Also get the last wild card spot if they don't win the division. So everything is riding for the Atlanta Falcons now on. They have to continue to play that dominance on defense. They have to continue to be force nature and get people healthy. If they can do that, then they can keep rolling the playoffs. So that's what I want to see when the Atlanta Falcons is they have to get healthy and they have to keep playing with aggression on defense. So if they want to get into the playoff picture. All right, next game. New England Patriots versus Denver Broncos. The score would be 41-16. Yikes. Tom Brady, 25-34, 266 yards with 3 TDs. Deion Lewis, 14 rushes, 55 yards, 1 TD, and he also had a 103-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Rob Gronkowski, the Spike Man, 4 catches, 74 yards. Total offense, 396 yards with 28 first downs. Time of possession, 29 minutes, 43 seconds with 0 turnovers. Defense, 0 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 INT, 1 fumble recovery. Brock Osweiler, aka Bench Osweiler, 18 of 33, 221 yards, 1 TD, 1 INT. CJ Anderson, 10 rushes, 54 yards. Emmanuel Sanders, 6 catches, a buck 37. Total offense, 339 yards with 17 first downs. Time of possession, 30 minutes, 17 seconds with 2 turnovers. Defense, 1 sack, 4 tackles for loss, and 0 INTs. Let's break this down.
Hard to believe these are the last 2 Super Bowl champions. And you can really tell how much that Denver defense is missing the aforementioned Wade Phillips too. You wouldn't think a coordinator make that big of a difference, but apparently he has. The personnel's still all there, but they no, their offense is putting them in, somebody. But you mentioned the kickoff return. That's not on the defense there. 3 and outs. They're getting winded easily.
And you also have the muff punt on special teams.
Exactly. And you're giving the opposition a short field. That's been doing pretty much all season long. So I mean, even if they had Wade Phillips there, I mean, statistically they might be doing better, but that's not going to make up for the special team errors. It's not going to make up for the short field that the turnovers are preventing, and the 3 and outs. They're not able to fill position. It's just it's how the mighty have fallen in Denver.
Yeah. Speaking of defense, you have one of the best defensive players. Excuse me, one of the best defenses in the game. Been top 5 for the last few years in the NFL. You have Talib, you have Miller, you have Harris, you have Roby, you have Wolf, you have Shane Ray, you have all these guys that can make plays on defense, and you don't know what to do with them. That's a problem because the last 2 games they gave over a combined 92 points. 51 against Philadelphia, not 41 against the Patriots. So you can't entirely blame it on the defense because they've been left hanging by their offense and they've been left on the field for too long. So the defense, they just need to go to the drawing board and correct their mistakes and get back to that no-fly zone defense we're accustomed to seeing. The first 3 weeks of the season, we were seeing that no-fly zone defense. Am I correct? They was being physical and daring you to beat them with the passing game. Their cornerbacks was being physical with the receivers. But the last 2 games, you're not really seeing that physicality with the defensive backs. And that's kind of a problem because people are taking advantage of what the defense gives, and we're not used to seeing that from the Denver Broncos secondary. You used to see them playing physical, man up, one-on-one coverage, man coverage especially, and you can bring blitzes from here and there. And we're not seeing Von Miller being that Von Miller we're accustomed to seeing because people started double teaming him. And he also got a tight end to help as well, and with the running back helping as well in the pass game. So teams are starting seeing what Von Miller is doing and how quick he gets off the edge. So that's why they chipping off an extra blocker to help out. It's not entirely the defense's fault, but they can get better at certain areas. I mean, there's still a lot of season left, and they can still make a playoff push. If they're going to make a playoff push, it needs to happen now. But the biggest concern is the offense. The offense has been letting the defense down. They can't score enough points to close out games because you have defense making plays after plays. Like for the first part of the game, where the Broncos had the ball in the first possession, they was marching down the field. I mean, you're in their red zone at the goal line. You have to score touchdowns instead of field goals. I mean, you got to open the playbook out. What else do you have? You ain't got nothing to lose. I mean, you had Manuel Sanders was eating Malcolm Butler alive. I mean, why didn't you take advantage of that some more often? Then you also can have C.J. Anderson, who can be utilized well in the passing game and the screen option. I don't know why they ain't use him as much in the passing game. And you also have Demaryius Thomas was not utilized a lot. I mean, take some shots down the field. I mean, the Patriots defense is giving up almost 300 yards a game in the passing area, but they're improved there. But you still got to test that water because they don't have much of a pass rush at all. So, and you bring in Brock Osweiler to be a starter. He had an okay game until that interception. Once that interception happened, that was signed, sealed, delivered, game over. Let's go to the Patriots side. Bill Belichick preaches complementary football. Offense, defense, special teams. He preaches it and it works. For the first part of the game, first part of the season, it wasn't like that. Especially the defense. They was dead last total yards, giving up rushing, passing, and all that. But now we're into the November, December, and January time to get ready to playoffs. These last few games, they're not giving up points as much. They're not giving up as much passing because the first few weeks of the season they was giving up average of 30 points or so. Then the last few weeks of the season average 14 to 17 points. That is a big difference. But the biggest concern is the pass rush. You have to get more pressure on the quarterback, and you also have to stop the run better, which they're doing, but you have to be more consistent in the pass rush to get after the quarterback because you're going to be playing teams like the Steelers and the Raiders coming up who can torch you in the passing game. You have to be able to disguise more blitzes and play more zone and get more pressure on the quarterback. I'll bring 5 or 6 guys just to create some pressure. Then you force the other team to be in the bind and make a mistake. So that's something that they can learn on defense. But special teams, they play outstanding. And you wonder why Belichick likes left-footed punters. Because they think they got it and they fumble the ball and it's recovered. So he is the only coach that preaches special teams. And special teams is a big deal. You don't see teams preach special teams like Bill Belichick does. And he's one of the best at it. So special teams had a great night against the Broncos special teams with a turnover and a touchdown kickoff return. Also the offense. Tom Brady, that ice cream avocado, keeps working. He's not playing like he's age 40. He's playing like he's a 26-year-old, balling, putting up ridiculous stats. I mean, what can you say about Tom Brady?
He's playing as good as he ever has.
I mean, can you see him play until he's 45? Is that possible in your mind?
That's what he said before.
We'll just have to see because everybody is saying that he'll fall off a cliff and he's not going to potentially play until he's 45. But if you look at Tom Brady's body of work, he takes care of himself. Like, he really does. Because when most quarterbacks up there in the age, they don't really take care of themselves and they deal with injuries and get banged up and force them to retire. But what Tom Brady does, he has that recovery body bag where athletes use. He bought one of those to help him with the sores and pains and aches and all that. And his diet game is just ridiculous. Especially that avocado ice cream. I don't know what's in that ice cream, but he's balling. Maybe we need to try some of that. And he's just playing at elite level. And he's on pace for 5,000 yards. Do you see that? And do you see him winning a potential MVP?
He's got to be the front runner right now. Well, him or Winston got to be the front runners, I'd imagine.
Yep. So be on the lookout for that. Alright, that would do for a Week 10 recap. When we come back, we're going to get to Week 11's matchups and predictions right here only on Gameball NFL Endzone podcast, where the football season never ends. What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to Gameball NFL Endzone podcast, where the football season never ends. Second part of the debate, we're going to get into Week 11's matchups prediction. So let's get it. Kansas City versus New York Giants. New England Patriots versus Oakland Raiders. Philadelphia Eagles versus Dallas Cowboys. Atlanta Falcons versus Seattle Seahawks. Kansas City Chiefs versus New York Giants. Let's break that down.
Oh, Chiefs coming off of a bye. Giants coming off of an embarrassment.
Embarrassment? That's more than embarrassment. I don't know what other word comes with embarrassment. That's debacle, throttle, deflated. Embarrassment again?
Mm-hmm. But game's at New York. It's going to be outdoors. They got kind of an East Coast front coming in tomorrow. So Mother Nature should at least, hopefully keep the game close for them. Not sure I'm going to give them much of a chance to even win, though.
Yeah, New York Giants are in a buckle here. They got too much offensive line issues and defensive issues. Especially you pay $200 million guaranteed money for key players coming in. They're not bringing in as much like they did last season. And Eli Manning is basically on suicide watch because he's getting killed every game with that lack of protection at offensive line. I mean, it's embarrassing. Reese, the general manager, might be out of a job because it consisted of bringing players, especially in the draft the last few years, and they know their number one weakness is the offensive line. They didn't address that, and the offensive line woes is still continuing, so they can't be successful at that. And the defense hasn't been playing like the New York Giants were accustomed to seeing. Four-man rush, secondary playing physical, linebackers coming well playing physical and stopping the run. So that's just been issues for the Giants. The Chiefs, I expect them to bounce back, especially on offense with that performance in the second half against the Cowboys, which is one touchdown. So I expect them to bounce back. They have to get Kareem Hunt going early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
If you get Kareem Hunt going, then you get the pass game going. Also get Travis Kelce, your big playmaker, going to pass the game. This offense will roll against the Giants' defense. Now the Kansas City Chiefs defense, they were embarrassed in the second half last time they played. They gave up a lot of yards on the ground, and they couldn't get off the field on third down. Their pass rush wasn't there, so the pass rush has to be there this time. With Holly back, it'll make much difference. And you kind of see that when they was playing Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
But against this New York Giants offensive line, I expect the Chiefs at least get 6 or 7 sacks against the New York Giants. That's what I'm going to go with. And the secondary needs to play well. If they can play well, which I think they will, then the Chiefs will roll and win in New York. Next matchup, New England Patriots versus the Oakland Raiders in Mexico City. Let's break this down.
Patriots got a bit of a scheduling advantage, playing at the Stadium LS Tech there in Mexico City. It's at a higher altitude than Denver is, and that just happened to be the Patriots' most previous game. They spent the week in Colorado Springs with the Air Force, on their campus. So the altitude is going to be much more of a problem for the Raiders going into this one than it will be for the Patriots. None of the Raiders coming off of a bye week, but the previous game before that was at Miami, which is about as sea level as you're going to find. So little interesting scheduling quirk thrown in there in favor of the Patriots.
What does the Raiders need to do offense and defensively to be successful to get an upset win over a team like New England.
They got to get Marshawn Lynch going.
I agree. They got to get Beast Mode going. The last game they got him going, he had 2 touchdowns with 57 yards rushing, something like that. And you also have to be well balanced offensively. Now, if you can protect Derek Carr in the passing game and get the playmakers going, then you'll be able to wear down the Patriots defense and also take some time off the clock and also keep Brady and the New England Patriots offense on the sideline. That's the key. If you keep Brady on the sideline and melt that clock, then your chances of winning are higher. But the question is, can they do that? We'll find out Sunday. For the Patriots to be successful, they have to get going on defense. They have to get a pass rush going. They have to be able to create blitzes going here and there. And their secondary, just continue to communicate, be physical, and not give up big plays. Malcolm Butler, by his standards, didn't play well last Sunday, especially against Emmanuel Sanders, who he gave up 137 receiving yards to. So if Malcolm Butler can be a little scrappy and play well, not give up big yards, whoever he playing against, Crabtree or whoever, then he'll have a good game as well. So that's what I'm looking forward to in New England's defense. As the offense, this is going to be New England's offense, taking advantage of it. Now you have Martellus Bennett, a.k.a. the Black Unicorn, back into the mix. That makes their offense more deadlier since Chris Hogan might be out the game with a shoulder injury. So that be no problem with them. If I'm the Patriots, I am targeting the Raiders secondary with Brandon Cooks because their secondary is suspect. Their rookie corner is out with the injury for the season, and they can't cover well right now, and the pass rush of the Oakland Raiders defense hasn't been as effective. So if I'm New England, I'm taking advantage of that matchup, and also take advantage of the matchup with a double tight end, Gronkowski or Bennett, or running backs out of the backfield, and that's the formula about the Patriots offense. They don't have superstar running backs. This player can produce in 1 week, like Rex Burkhead. Another player can produce in 1 week. You got another running back can produce in 1 week. That's what you like about the Patriots offense. They don't do the same thing. They come up with different offensive plays to expose you, especially expose your linebackers with the running backs, and they're the best at doing that. So what do you see the Patriots to do then to win this game?
If they don't have the ball for 35 minutes or more time of possession, I'll be shocked.
Yep. So if New England has time of possession, they pretty much win this game. So I expect New England to be scoring on all cylinders, especially on offense. And special teams continue to play good special teams. If they can do that, they'll win big in Mexico City against Oakland. All right, Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Let's break this matchup.
Philadelphia, they're coming off a bye as well. First matchup of the two division teams this year. Dallas again without Ezekiel Elliott. Believe they're down another offensive lineman. I just heard that earlier today on that as well.
And we also know if Smith's going to come back in the second game, he could be out for the second consecutive game. And you also have Ezekiel Elliott who's suspended. So
whatever the spread is, they can't make it high enough in Philadelphia's favor for this one.
Exactly. So for the Philadelphia Eagles to be successful offense, just be balanced and just take advantage of the Dallas Cowboys defense, especially that secondary, because the secondary is still suspect. And now you have Sean Lee out the game with a hamstring injury, so you could take that matchup with the running backs as well coming out of the backfield. And the offensive line continue to play well, be physical, run, block, and pass protect well. And defense, the Philadelphia may have the best front seven in the game. But there's still issues in the secondary, but the front seven has been dominant. They are the top two defense against the run. In the pass, it still could be some work, but at the running game and putting pressure on the quarterback, they're one of the best in the NFL. And I expect them to create a lot of havoc, especially against the Dallas Cowboys offense line. For the Dallas Cowboys, for a miracle to happen to win this game, they need to do a lot of praying. A lot of praying to the football gods out there, wherever needs to happen, because their season is pretty much over. Rest in peace. That's all I gotta say. Alright, last game. Atlanta Falcons versus Seattle Seahawks. Let's break this one down.
Turns out that Russell Wilson did in fact suffer a bit of a jaw injury in that Thursday night game against the Cardinals. 2 to 3 days after that, he was on a liquid diet, was going to sleep with a split in his mouth, I believe. Just it was informed that Cam Chancellor's out for the season with a neck injury as well. Sherman towards Achilles that last game. They've been without Cliff Averill for a minute now. The game is at Seattle. Russell Wilson is 6-0 in Monday night games for Seattle. He is 23-1 as a starter in primetime games in general. So they do have a few things going for him there.
I do feel bad for the Seahawks, especially on the defensive side. And you feel bad for Richard Sherman. He has never dealt with an injury like this. I mean, he has a bunch of bruises here and there. He'll play through it. But he's that type of player that plays hard. I mean, practices hard, he plays hard. And love him or hate him, he backs his talk up. I mean, for the first few years of his NFL career, he has 31 interceptions. That's leading the NFL since he got in. So I just feel bad for Richard Sherman. He is a hard worker and he'll play hard and he's a player performer. He comes out, puts on performance. So without that being there, and you also have your hammer, your bread and butter, your heart and soul, that secondary is Cam Chancellor. You also not going to have him for the rest of the season. So that is going to be a big effect. And so players got to step up, and we're going to see how the Seattle Seahawks defense responds. And Russell Wilson, I mean, they're winning, but their offensive line still has issues. So you acquire Brown, that can be some improvement, but we'll have to see in this game. And for the Atlanta Falcons to win, they have to be able to expose the offensive line of the Seattle Seahawks. They have to repeat what happened last week against Dallas in this game against Seattle. They have to stop the run, and they cannot let Russell Wilson get out of the pocket and extend plays. If that happens, they're in trouble. And the secondary has to play better. They have to be more physical, and they have to play good in coverage, and they have to force 3-and-outs and get turnovers. If they can do that, they can win this game. Also, Dan Quinn coming back home to Seattle when he once was a defensive coordinator, winning the Super Bowl and losing the Super Bowl there as well. So we'll see how that goes in his return to Seattle. So what are your points for Seattle and Atlanta winning this game?
Oh, Atlanta's down Devontae Freeman. Didn't seem to hold him back last week. Seattle night game at home. Remember, this is a Monday night game, but they haven't played since Thursday of last week as well either. So it's almost like they're getting a second bye, and that should play to their advantage.
All right, let's do it. Prediction time. Kansas City Chiefs versus New York Giants.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs 24-10 in this one. Again, they have an East Coast front coming in. It's affected a lot of the northern Midwest states in the college game today. It's moving eastward. A lot of the outdoor games on the East Coast are going to be getting hit by it tomorrow. 24-10 Chiefs. Mother Nature helps the Giants stay within 2 touchdowns.
Unanimous decision. I agree with you. It's going to be close in the first part. Well, I say the Kansas City Chiefs come kick it up another notch, and they'll blow the Giants out the water. I'm going to say the Chiefs win a score of 35-14. All right, next matchup, the Patriots versus the Raiders. Who you got?
You have a top 5 offense against the bottom 5 defense. Patriots will be able to, if not necessarily run the ball, they'll at least be able to throw those underneath passes, screen passes, etc. that are basically an extension of a handoff. They'll control the time of possession. They'll have it 37-38 minutes tomorrow, and they'll win 35-13.
Unanimous decision again. I'm going to go with you, but I'm going to say kind of repeat what happened last week. I'm going to say 42-20. Patriots over Raiders. Philadelphia Eagles versus the Dallas Cowboys. Unanimous decision. Philadelphia Eagles for both. What's your score?
I actually think the Eagles are actually going to be it's a division game. I understand it's at Philadelphia. It's a night game at Philadelphia. I think they kind of go back and forth for the first 2.5 quarters. I got Philadelphia in a rather close one, 27-20.
I'm not going to say it's not even close. I'm going to say it's going to be another debacle, The Dallas Cowboys are overwhelmed with everything's going on. So I'm gonna say the Philadelphia will debacle the hopeless Dallas Cowboys. The score of 35-10. Sorry, Dallas Cowboys fans, your season is over. Rest in peace. I may come out a song for you. Maybe good, maybe not. So Philadelphia Eagles over the Dallas Cowboys 35-10. Atlanta Falcons versus Seattle Seahawks. Who you got?
I'm going to go with the home team in this one. I think Russell Wilson improves to 7-0 at home. He's the closest thing to a one-man band we've seen in an offense since probably since the '87 season with John Elway at the Broncos. He really does have to do it all for them to win, but it's been a recipe for success for them. And weird things happen in Seattle on Monday night. You had the Fail Mary. You had the game against the Lions 2 years ago where Megatron was going in for the touchdown. Bam Bam was able to punch it out.
Chancellor.
KJ Wright deliberately bashed the ball out of the end zone, which should have been a penalty that was not called. Last year, right before halftime, you had the whole thing against the Bills with the kicker. Just weird stuff happens there. And going back pre-Pete Carroll, that's actually where Terrell Owens broke up the Sharpie in the football and whatever else. Just unusual things happen in Seattle on Monday night. More that's going to happen tomorrow, or excuse me, Monday night. I'll go with the Seahawks 24-20.
I'm going to go with the Seahawks as well. It's just when you go into that 12-man stadium, it's different there. It's like that energy level is different. It's like that vibe and that crowd takes it up to another notch, and Seattle plays on another level. I'm going to say it's going to be a close game because with not having Sherman or Cam Chancellor with the issues of the offensive line, but I'm still going to pick Seattle Seahawks to win. I'm going to say a close one. Russell Wilson leads down the way, get a late winning field goal, score of 30-27. Seattle wins. Alright, that will do it for Week 11 matchups and predictions. Social media, you can follow me at Facebook, Gameball College Kickoff / Gameball NFL Endzone. Twitter, all capitalized at Gameball. That is GAMEBALL. All capitalized _ capitalized M lowercase y k e. You can also email me at gck.gnfle@gmail.com. Twitter, like, subscribe, leave comments below. gck.gnfltv. Your social media?
Find me on Facebook at Luke Hartnett. You can find me on Twitter at I am Luke Hartnett. IAMLUKEHARTNETT.
Alright, that will do it. I'm Michael Riley.
And I'm Luke Hartnett.
By saying, have a safe, blessed night and be good. This is Gameball NFL Endzone podcast where the football season never ends. Peace. We are out.